Alright everyone, it is Dokkan time again, and today's how to build is going to be for the Intelligent Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Yes, it's Gogeta time. Everyone is loving Gogeta. I honestly didn't think we were going to get the EZA for this unit. I really did not. I thought if we were going to get it, it was going to come with those first batches, and it didn't. It just was a surprise chuck out right after the other ones. And that's fine. I think he's pretty decent. He's really good to a specific degree, although I do think he does have some ins and outs that people should be aware of. But overall, Gogeta is fun. Gogeta is cool. And yeah, so if you're new to the channel, my name is Joe Saiyan. We make hidden potential build videos for Dokkan battle units here on the channel. Generally, I will be making more Dragon Ball videos in the future. And I try to have a cup of tea every now and again, and actually, I'm actually low on tea right now. That's scary. I need tea. I need tea. Anyways, so if that sounds good to you, please do 10 times Big Bang Kamehameha the like and subscribe button, and let's just get right into it. So, actually, sorry. Before we really get into this, I do want to make one disclaimer note about this video. I didn't do it with a previous build video that I just also posted, but this Gogeta specifically actually does have equipment. He does have special equipment that is level 8 attack, level 8 defense, level 4 evasion with level 2 defense, a combo orb of level 2 and defense level 2, crit level 2 with a defense level 2, and then honestly some worthless addition gold orbs. I am not going to be taking these orbs into consideration during this video. I am not taking these into consideration because they are time limited special orbs that you cannot obtain. They are literally unobtainable after a certain period of time. Those orbs can only be obtained in the Training in the Clouds event. You have to acquire the currency for this, which is the not this. Hold on. You need to obtain the currency for this, which is the Proof of Mastery. So the Proof of Masteries you'll be able to access in the Baba shop and obtain those special equips, but those special equips will be leaving with the event. This event is not permanent. It does go away on the wait. What the heck? Hold on a sec. Sorry about that. Old post. This event does go away on August 11th, along with the GDC 2025 event in total. So once this event goes away, you will no longer be able to acquire these character exclusive orbs. Although you can get them, it'll literally be only for 10 days. Afterwards, you will be unable to collect them. And the next time that this event comes back, these will not be obtainable anymore. It does not state that specifically in here. It does not warn you about it by any means necessary. We learned that this happens purely based on the fact that this happened during the anniversary, 10th anniversary. We got the Training in the Clouds. We got equips for like physical GT Goku. And now that the event has returned, we do not have access to getting those orbs any longer. Now, obviously, I have obtained them myself, but if any brand spanking new players do have access to those old orbs or these ones in the future, please do let me know so I can at least make a note of it in the comment section below. But otherwise, no, the equipment for this unit is not available in the future. Therefore, I will not be taking it into consideration in my builds. I will be taking into consideration standard ones that you can get from the Whis event, which is eternally grindable. So, with that being said, let's get into the breakdown of this unit. Now, 200% leader options are pretty decent, but at the same time, I would say his primary homes are just straight up his own team of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Super Saiyan 3/4 Carnival Goku, and then I would assume just the AGL Gogeta as the next one up there. I think he is actually 220 also on this new Goku Vegeta because so 220 on here as well. So some pretty decent 220 options. I personally prefer 200 to 220s only when running units nowadays. I don't suggest 170 teams. Now, speaking of 170 teams, his leader skill did get buffed a little bit, which is Giant 8 Power Shadow Dragon Saga category Ki +3 HP attack and defense of 170. His super attack is massively raising attack and greatly raising defense for 4 turns. This does actually stack for 4 turns, so he does 100% stack for 4 turns and then defense for 4 turns. So it is very, very important that he does get his super attacks off. So whatever your slot 1 unit is for this guy, it would be preferred that it's not like an auto win KO unit, because his defense will vary greatly otherwise, if you're planning to keep him on rotation in slot 2 per se. But otherwise, if he's in slot 3 being floated, then it shouldn't necessarily be too much of a problem. Now, passive skill is Power to Annihilate Evil. Ki +4 attack and defense of 300%. Attacks effective against all types. Damage reduction 40%. For 1 singular turn from the entry turn, an extra 40% damage reduction. For every attack received or evaded, chance of performing a crit plus 25% up to 100%. So that's 100% chance to crit after 4 attacks. Attacked or evaded, or received or evaded. As the second attacker in a turn, an additional attack and defense of 250% and a auto super attack, so that's a guaranteed additional super. And when receiving a super attack, great chance of nullifying it and countering with tremendous power for 10 turns from the entry turn, and then 50% chance of nullifying it from the 11th turn. He does have an active skill. This is not permanent, by the way. I understand there's a lot of confusion with this active skill, but no, this is not a permanent active. It is only for the turn. Some people think that the attack and defense 40% is permanent for Gogeta, unless an update comes through on the game that says otherwise. This is not permanent at the time of recording. And all enemies attack and defense minus 40% for 1 turn. This can be activated after the character receives 4 attacks. Now, his link skills are a little weird, and I know a couple people pointed it out to me personally, but he does not have Saiyan Roar. This is a unit that came out in a time where Over in the Flash was actually pretty prominent, or at least usable, so it doesn't surprise me too much, but basically I believe Kamehameha or Over in the Flash is what would have been replaced for Saiyan Roar. Anyways, Super Saiyan Kamehameha, Shocking Speed, Over in the Flash, GT, Fuse Fire, and Fierce Battle. This does make his links a little bit wonky and his pairings a little bit off. It is the sole reason that I don't actually suggest putting him into slot 2, because he's going to be on teams with Saiyan Roar. Saiyan Roar is a big increase on attack and defense, and it actually neuters some of the other allies' attack and defense. So to say that I don't actually suggest putting Gogeta in slot 2 is pretty big. It really highly depends on your team composition, of course. You know, if you're not rocking primarily Giant 8 Power units and you're rocking more Over in the Flash units, this would make more of a sense to do. Technically speaking, this Vegito is a better link partner in some ways, because he's not hurting, say, this other Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta that does have Saiyan Roar. So right now, this Gogeta could have an extra 25% attack and 10% defense, but because they don't have Saiyan Roar, it hurts them. But anyways, if you do plan on keeping him on rotation, I would highly suggest you use maybe this new Super Easy Aid STR Goku. That would be a nice slot 1 option for you. Same thing here with the 7th anniversary duo Monkey Boys. As long as they have sufficiently stacked enough, they could be a slot 1 unit for him. But otherwise, I really do feel like this unit is straight up just a slot 3 damage dealing counter-based unit. But anyways, let's go take a look at the defense numbers. Now, these defense numbers are compliments of Halvard over on Twitter. So to put into base premise here, in slot 2 or 3, if you double super, which you will, you're guaranteed to double super, you'll be at 2 million defense. That is your standard level of defense with no support or nothing. That is just getting your links off, being in slot 2 or 3. So do please keep that in mind, that he has a very low base defense. Now, obviously, for the first 4 turns, if you're on a Super Saiyan 4 Carnival Gogeta team, then, you know, he'll look a little bit more impressive with the support and be at 2.7 million defense after double supering. Now, if he triple supered on a previous turn, this would be with 3 super attack effects, and he could be at 4 million defense post super and 4.7 on the additional super that is free. Remember, this requires that you get your hidden potential super to go off to be able to acquire this amount of defense and still be within the turn time of double Gogeta support within the first 4 turns. So, it's a little bit of a restrictive type of defense here, but anyways, with active skill that bumps it up to 5 mil, 40% support it goes up to 6 mil, triple super 8 million. That is a very high ceiling, but it's only within the first 4 turns. Removing the ability of the Gogeta support for the first 4 turns isn't going to have, I would say, a detrimental huge decrease, but you can definitely assume that with 3 super attack effects, this is more closer to around the probably 3 million range, which unfortunately is not a livable condition. 4 million is livable, 3 million is not. And it's purely because of the double Gogeta support. Double Gogeta support of AGL Gogeta is only for the first 4 turns. So unless the fight is only going to last 4 turns, his defense is just not going to be high enough. I know everybody loves to look at Halford's defense numbers and be like, oh, that max possible defense, I get that all the time, right? No, you don't get that all the dang time. You have to think outside the box, okay? You have to think outside the box. But I will be positive and tell you that it doesn't really matter too much. And let me show you why it doesn't really matter on his defense. His defense doesn't actually matter too much. And I'm going to show you right here. Right here. See what this is? When receiving a super attack, 70% chance of nullifying a super attack. Now, I said this before with the Super EZA, Goku, and Vegeta, but very few units in the game actually have the ability to counter any super attack, any whatsoever. Majority of the units that are created nowadays are very specific highly to the type of super attack. For instance, the new AGL Carnival Gogeta, yes, this one right here, this boy, does have the same ability, but his is specifically with a Ki Blast based super. So, in the instance of the Special Battle 2025, if you're fighting Omega Shenron, if you throw him into slot 1, this boy just gets stun locked. Because he doesn't counter physical-based attacks, he only counters Ki Blasts. So, not that he can't tank that, but that's not the point. The point is that in the same instance, this boy has a 70% chance of countering an attack that Gogeta would not be able to. So, this unit can already tank normals, no problem whatsoever. Easy peasy. Consider this his primary defense mechanic, as he has a 70% chance of countering every single super that comes at him for the first 10 turns. Now, if you're in a fight that's lasting longer than 10 turns with him, I really don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Because whatever fight you go into that involves 3 Gogetas, Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas on a team, either you're in a much later time of the game's life cycle and the meta has increased so substantially, or I don't really know why he's in an event where it's lasting longer than 10 turns. You're really dragging it out. I mean, you're really you're really dragging it out. Like, this boy can end the game so quickly. His damage gets up into the 40 to 50 million marker. So, I mean, I don't see any time where he's going to be a problem. So his defense numbers are pretty much irrelevant on the off chance that you don't counter a super attack. So long as you've been keeping up his stacks and you're on a properly supported 220 team, you know, like off rotation, Super Saiyan 4, Carnival Goku. There's several instances, but I do not think that this dude will be the reason that you die. Carelessness will be. But anyway, it's super late. Let's just get this video over with. we're going to go ahead and move on to the build suggestions. So the build suggestions are as follows at 55%, no dupes whatsoever. I would suggest just throwing additionals into him. It's the only thing that's really benefiting him. He auto crits. He doesn't need to dodge per se. He's countering supers. He's basically tanking all normals. So I'd say he's pretty much fine to just give him additional. Even at 55%, he should be pretty safe-ish. Now with one dupes build, that would be the bottom right-hand path, specifically first and foremost. 3 nodes put into additional, level 9 naturally. With a level 5 silver orb, you can get that up to 14, which is a 28% chance to additional. And the last node that you will go with would be dodge, making him have a level 8 naturally. Now, this is the part where I would actually suggest you throw in a defense orb, because on the off chance that you don't counter the super, or you don't get to super attack, or you're locked into slot 1 or something, maybe the little bit of extra defense could go a long way. Especially if you actually did get the special equips that are free level 8. You know, it's not going to hurt you to throw that into there. And it doesn't hurt you to throw it on the 55% build either. I just feel once you start getting to dupes, you want to think about how you're going to finish the builds for the unit towards rainbowing. So, and with that being said, we're going into the 2 dupe plus range here. So the second dupe should be the top left-hand corner, and then after that is player's choice. With that, you'll be putting in the nodes until you hit the level 15 additional, a gold level 5 additional, and a silver level 5 additional should get you to 25 additional, which is a 50% chance to additional attack. Now, the rest of the node would go in, the last node would go into a dodge, which would give you a natural level 11 dodge. Once again, I just feel like the defense orb would just be kind of nice, especially if they're not rainbowed. But otherwise, an attack orb would actually probably go pretty far for this Gogeta. In fact, I think a lot of people will be throwing attack orbs onto this guy. I think I'm going to try to use that level 7 additional and attack orb that we got from the cooperation battle onto this guy and see how nice it makes him. Because this guy can do some decent damage. He's double supering for free, and those double supers, when built up using your active, etc., etc., you can get into some stupid high levels of damage with him. Mind you, it is only double super. I still think the AGL Gogeta will do more damage, but overall, a floating tactical nuke, basically, I think he's pretty good. So, with the builds out of the way, let's move on to the roll tips. Overall, I do think he is more of a damage dealer than anything. I'm not saying he's a tank because aside from his counter ability, his defense isn't technically going to be on average high enough for super attacks all the time. Remember, this Gogeta only has 40% damage reduction. That's actually all he really does have. Naturally, he only has 80% damage for the first turn. There's no guard in here. His main defense mechanic, other than the 40% damage reduction, is just the 10 turns of 70% chance to counter. Once this has gone over into the 11th one, that's when you got to worry about him, of course. Or, you know, just poor luck of not countering. But otherwise, he should be pretty much safe at all points of time. He's auto-critting. You know, the active is severely increasing his own damage and lowering the enemies. And with the amount of support on grade 8 power and GT heroes right now, I really do feel like he is straight up a damage dealer. Leaders wise is all of the above right here. Any instance could be a good instance of him being on the team. AGL Gogeta, you have the Gogeta buff, of course, that could be insane levels of damage up to 100 million. Super Saiyan 3/4 Carnival Goku right there could definitely be a nice averaging out, get that extra 10% damage reduction in there, and off-rotational support. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is just Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And then Goku Vegeta unit with, actually, that's just another 220 option. Don't worry about him. Partner-wise, it definitely would just be these three. Remember, he is also Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta standalone, so he doesn't link with the AGL Gogeta. So if you do throw this unit onto the AGL Gogeta team, that's 3 units with the same exact name that cannot link. That is part of the reason why his best slot position is slot 3, because majority of players put AGL Gogeta in slot 1. And in fact, if you bring Intelligence Gogeta, you're more than likely going to be forced into throwing him into slot 3, just to make sure that you're getting links going off in slot 2 to slot 1. So, but yeah, his partners are going to be like the Super EZA Goku, the Carnival Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then of course the Transforming Gogeta would be his best partner options. Remember, his links are a little weird. He has Over in the Flash, so units such as even this Vegeta, Vegito Blue Super EZA could be a decent partner with him as well. But anyways, I think that covers pretty much all the bases for Gogeta. I think he's a pretty fun unit. I think he'll be interesting to use. The worst part about him, unfortunately, is just that, you know, there's 3 of him. There is 3 of him. You could have a nice, satisfying rotation, though, you know. Get this guy in slot 3, get the 7th anniversary duo to transform in slot 2, slot 1 AGL Gogeta. That would just be a freaking awesome rotation. I can't wait for that. Anyways, guys, let me know what teams you decide to use, what rotations are you using, what hidden potential build did you use for this unit, and thank you all for watching. Have a good day and a good night.